and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Compliments of the season. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. Thank you for joining us once again. President Muhammadu Buhari is back in the country after a week-long official engagement in the United States. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports the president arrived Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, in the early hours of Sunday. He was received on arrival by the governors of Bauchi and Kwara states, Minister of State for the FCT, Inspector General of Police, Director General, Department of State Services, and other top government officials. While in Washington, D.C., the president attended the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit convened by President Joe Biden as part of his renewed efforts at resetting and improving U.S. ties with the continent.
Very, very successful. And there are so many things to talk about. But perhaps foremost among all of these things is the fact of the strategic partnership that President Muhammadu Buhari and President Biden have struck. Clearly indicating that the two leaders are on one page. One page in promoting the values of democracy. He described President Muhammadu Buhari as a role model for the continent, as a champion for democracy in Africa. I assure you that this is going to come with a lot of dividends. President Biden has indicated, in the course of this summit, that he is going to work for a permanent seat on the G20 for Africa. If there is that strategic partnership between Nigeria and the United States, there's every indication to assume, to suspect that they will work for the emergence of Nigeria because we're on the same page for them.
Madam Garba Shehu is equally elated over the outcome of the several business and investment fora attended by the president to market Nigeria.
Quickly, one would see what is coming from, the energy sector. President Muhammadu Buhari has been a champion for a just energy transition, under all of these things that are going on with the climate change processes all over the world. He spoke, he got the right forum to address the issue. And it is clear from all of the things that have emerged in America that there's a growing consensus between Nigeria and the United States for the use of gas, which is important to our nation as a transition energy. So we hope this will be taken forward. And an important element also is the fact that, we struck this agreement right there, in the presence of officials representing President Biden, for the $10 million US solar energy, project. That's going to be a change maker for the country. 5,000 megawatts of solar power is huge.
During the three-day high-level engagements, the United States announced several multi-billion-dollar commitments to Africa towards advancing the priorities they share for a prosperous future. The final match of the Qatar 2022 World Cup has just begun, and fingers are crossed on who amongst France and Argentina will win the coveted trophy for the third time. Daniel Adere has a preview.
If words could describe the Qatar 2022 World Cup
of Nations.
Born on the 17th of December 1942 in Daura, Katsina State, President Muhammadu Buhari was raised by his uncle, the then district head of Daura, Alhaji Dauda Daura, father of Malam Mamman Daura, who enlisted him for primary school. He attended the now Government College Katsina and was at the Nigerian Military Training College Kaduna, now known as the Nigerian Defense Academy, and attended many training military institutions that include the U.S. Army, War College, Pennsylvania, and the National Defense College, New Delhi in India. President Muhammadu Buhari was outstanding in his military career in foreign peacekeeping and fought for Nigeria's civil war. As a politician, he has to his records improving infrastructural development such as the construction of the Second Niger Bridge, roads, rail, ports, power plants, airports, the national social investment programs to leave 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. Economic recovery, electoral reforms, winning the fight against insurgency and sustaining the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. So deploying innovative financing mechanisms like the Presidential Infrastructural Development Fund, Executive Order 7, Sukuk bonds, and green bonds are part of his achievements. He has recorded successes in police reforms and recognized globally for his contributions to national growth. Under his leadership, Nigeria presented Ambassador Muhammad Bande, Nigeria's permanent representative, as the president of the UN General Assembly. Likewise, Amina Mohammed was appointed and reappointed as the Deputy Secretary General of the UN. He spearheaded the campaign for the election of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the World Trade Organization's Director General, promoted the election and re-election of Akin Adesina for the second term in Africa's Development Bank. Recently, he commissioned the unveiling of the Kalmani oil well straddling Bauchi and Gombe State, promising more than 1 billion barrels of crude oil and over 500 billion cubic feet of natural gas. President Buhari is passionate about completing and inaugurating the Ajaokuta steel rolling mill and construction of the 3,500 megawatts Mambila electricity power projects. As he attained the age of 80 in extraordinarily state of high physical and mental fitness, Muhammadu Buhari's life continues to symbolize service to the nation and humanity, as well as dedication and commitment to the building of a secure, stronger, and prosperous Nigeria.
Women across Nigeria gathered at the nation's capital, Abuja, to celebrate the legacies of late Mrs. Mariam Babangida, the legacy she left behind, which has empowered Nigerian women and girls to contribute to the development of the nation. This was the celebration of National Center for Women Development, which was commissioned under Better Life for Rural Women in 1992. Basi Taikpan reports.
Nigerian women. She created awareness from the grassroots to where we are today, and the awareness she brought to us. She said this center gave hope and relevance to Nigerian women.
That set the tone for the celebration of the National Center for Women Development at 30, which speakers noted has lived to the ideals of the founder.
We wish to note that there is still much work to be done. This is because Nigerian women are yet to be fully empowered within the framework of national and international targets of bridging the gender inequality gaps.
And I enjoin you all to continue to support the giant strides of the National Center for Women Development in empowering Nigerian women through its various mandated programs and activities.
The wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, who was represented, observed that in line with its mandate, the center has supported the goals of the Nigerian agenda and women development.
That part of her support to this center is to extend some of the services that this center has been doing, to include setting up a special center for special needs.
Quality of every society is directly proportional to the respect that society accords their women.
The event was also used to raise funds for the revitalization of the center. Basi Taipan, NTA News.
Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria, by several standards, stands out in terms of infrastructure development when compared to other Nigerian cities. But it is not such a model in access to water. Musbah Dan Wahab examines the water situation, supply in the FCT in comparison with the status of the city.
Abuja, a modern and fast-growing city. But the Nigerian seat of power is not insulated from the water and sanitation deficits in the country yet. Leveraging on Gurara and Lower Osman dams, the FCT has more than enough raw water to cater for its residents, but the portable one is not so sufficient. Access to safe water in the FCT2 is a mixed bag of a limited few getting public supply with others fending for themselves, either through personal borehole or vendors.
How do you get access to water here?
It's public water supply.
We buy water.
But you have to trek the distance before getting water.
Godwin seems to be in the class of those at the end of the access chain, most of whom are in the rural communities of the FCT. In Muko, Buhari Area Council, this is how many hunt for water daily.
This our area is not easy in this area. From that Catholic Church side, we are from that Catholic Church side to come here just to fish water.
With the deficit at hand, influx and number of residents keep increasing, and Abuja is sprawling with many satellite towns being added on. So too is the need for a safe water.
Abuja is well planned. It has a water supply master plan. The design is actually for the city. The add-on, yes, we are taking care of them, but they were not originally in the master plan. We'll give them water, but then we have to do value engineering to be able to get, and we're doing it already.
So much hope coming from the FCT administration, hinging on the rehabilitation of some treatment plants and the Greater Abuja Water Supply Scheme, targeting additional 50 districts, covering about 1.5 million residents.
I want to believe that in the next 9 to 12 months, max, this project will be completed. Again, that will boost water supply to FCC.
We are going to concentrate our efforts. We've been spending so much time and energy with the states that we even forgot our own federal territory. So we're coming back now to also look at our federal territory.
In addition to the sustainable development aspirations, the FCT is expected to position itself, including in social infrastructure, and serve as model to the state. In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Now to issues concerning security. The 271 Nigerian Air Force NAF detachment based in Gwari, Kaduna State, has carried out a rescue operation in the early hours of 17th December 2022, leading to the rescue of 7 Chinese expatriates earlier kidnapped and held hostage by terrorists. In a statement signed by the NAF Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, the rescued Chinese victims are believed to have been kidnapped in June 2022 by terrorists while working on a mining site in Ajata Aboki Gurmana ward of Shiroro local government of Niger State. The combat search and rescue operation, which consisted of 35 special forces, was conducted in the cover of night at Kafani Doka and Gwaska general areas, leading to the terrorists abandoning their enclave with weapons, and the Chinese hostages have since been flown to a NAF medical center for medical attention. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amau, hailed the rescue efforts of the Special Forces and reiterates the NAF's commitment to protecting the territorial integrity of the nation. You're still watching Nationwide. Let's go over to Lagos, where Adiola is waiting with more stories. Hello, Adiola.
Thank you, Lydia.
The National Bureau of Statistics has finalized plans to implement the 2 recently launched household surveys on living standard and labor force in the first quarter of 2023 to help provide detailed information on the subjects. Statistician General of the Federation, Adeyemi Adeniran, stated this at the second biennial meeting of the National Consultative Committee on Statistics. Abulade Salami reports.
With the theme, Direct Implication of Sectoral Statistics in Curbing Inflation, statisticians converged on Lagos to fully understand the severity of the global situation and countries and seek ways to mitigate the effect of inflation on households with a view to maintain their consumption levels through the use of adequate and reliable data. They alluded to the fact that critical moments such that the world is experiencing with inflation requires more than conventional headline numbers, but figures that are required by policymakers to help shape both fiscal and monetary measures.
We have designed a new methodology with the World Bank now, so that this survey will run for a period of 12 months. And at interval on quarterly basis, we'll be coming up with result of unemployment, underemployment, and other indicators, but not in full details. So on quarterly basis, we'll be able to produce the result for basic headline.
The second Binational Consultative Committee on Statistics meeting also touched on how to strengthen the coordination of statistical production among major practitioners and professionals, as well as other players in the Nigerian statistical system.
Data play key role in any development with reliable and timely information for effective planning, budgeting, implementation of programs and projects, and indeed monitoring and evaluation.
The brainstorming session statisticians submit would help to provide updates and harmonize statistical activities and discussion, as well as reflection on how to move statistical system in Nigeria forward, with each members playing their respective parts. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTN News.
Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, has called on the media to align with efforts in tackling information disorder by renewing their commitment to the propagation of messages of peace that are not detrimental to national well-being. The call was the thrust of his message to the opening ceremony of a media workshop organized by the Nigerian Army School of Public Relations, NASPRI, for defense correspondents and Army Public Relations commanding officers in Lagos. Adeniyi Taiwo reports.
More actively engaged on home soil now than at any other time in recent history, the Nigerian Army's operations and other engagements to stave off existing and emerging threats to national security are often in the public domain for Nigerians to appreciate. However, while it engages current insecurity on many fronts, working hard to put insurgency on a back footing, the Nigerian Army is hard-pressed on another front, having to contend with unwholesome narratives which are threatening to national security.
The abilities to surmount these security challenges.
In a message to a media workshop organized by Nigerian Army School of Public Relations for Directorate of Army Public Relations Officers and Defense Correspondents in Lagos, Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, who was represented, says a holistic mobilization of members of the public against the menace of information disorder is an imperative at this time.
We are readily available to fully support the civil authority in whatever capacity that guarantees the protection of Nigerian citizens and their property, which I consider the only leeway to national development and progress.
We must see ourselves collectively and patriotically as vanguard for the enthronement of ideas that will elicit public interest in nation building.
With the theme, harnessing all of society approach to curb the menace of information disorder, national security perspective, papers presented at the workshop interrogated a wide range of concerns, including the role of the military in the coming general elections and how the media, new technologies, and the political class are shaping the narratives.
So we are looking at it from the point of view that it is high time that we begin to talk about constructive narratives that will make sure that information are not weaponized to the detriment of the masses.
The paper covers the effect of social media
particularly fake news, as it affects Operation Safe Conduct.
For a better operational environment, devoid of lag in communication, NASPRI is building capacity of its operatives through regular training that has seen about 3,500 officers of the Nigerian Army and Nigerian Navy trained since its establishment in April 2010. In Lagos, Adeni Itaiwo, NTN.
And Sokoto is where we are heading next, and Sadia is waiting with more stories from that zone. But remember that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. To stay on, the news will continue shortly.
Country people, they talk with one voice. Them say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them want as president of Nigeria for this president election.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu na the man where we all know and see all the good work in they do for the country, especially when he be governor of Lagos State.
Now him God use turn Lagos to the best state for Nigeria.
Today, many people all over Nigeria they like to go Lagos, go settle down for business and better life.
All because of the good work when Bola Tinubu do.
People of Nigeria, as Asiwaju do for Lagos, now so him ready to do am for the whole country.
Vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC, the party we get a broom.
We want
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, fearless, loyal and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
The occasion gives cause for reflection and reminds us of the sacrifice made by our armed forces in preserving the unity of the country.
All ministries, parastatals, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to these accounts. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), in collaboration with the National Broadcast Commission (NBC), Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC), Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria (ACON), and the Nigerian Police Force is hosting a stakeholders summit on political campaign financing and vote buying as we approach the 2023 general elections. Those invited to attend are the chairman of all political parties, candidates in the 2023 general elections, chief executive officers of broadcast stations, and the press. The summit is scheduled to hold on Monday, 19th December 2022. Venue, NAF Conference Center, Ahmadu Bello Way, Jabi, Abuja. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Speakers at the summit are Chairman, INEC, DG, NBC, Executive Chairman, EFCC, Chairman, ICPC, DG, ACON, and the Inspector General of Police. Balarebe Shehu Ilela, Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, Announcer.
All right, we hope to rejoin my colleague there, but meanwhile, let's take this next story. The Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, DEPOA, is putting smiles on faces by ensuring financial inclusion for widows and children of fallen heroes through training and empowerment. Defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani reports.
Before now, they faced an uncertain future owing to the loss of their breadwinners in the line of duty, but the roles are about to be reversed. Facilitating this role reversal is DEPOA, with support from the Chief of Defense Staff, service chiefs, former DEPOA presidents, and other key players in an intervention which has imparted various entrepreneurial skills to these graduates at the DEPOA Skills Center, including fashion design, hospitality management, and ICT skills.
We are graduating a diverse group of women who have experienced real pain and have come out stronger. The life of a loved one cut short in honorable service to the nation can never be erased from memory.
Mitigating the consequences of unemployment is an important consideration for national security.
Beyond making the beneficiaries employable and future employers of labor, the initiative, which includes equipment and starter capital, is in line with the federal government financial inclusion plan for women. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
And supporters of the All Progressives Congress APC have expressed optimism in the ability of the party's presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu to revamp Nigeria's economy. This is demonstrated as thousands of the supporters staged a peaceful rally in Abuja from the Unity Fountain to the Eagle Square. Ifeanyi Ezumba has details.
Flanked by security and road safety operatives, these Nigerians are making a statement that Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his running mate Shettima will eliminate poverty and revamp the nation's economy if APC is voted into office in 2023.
We are here to stand on the mandate of Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, our party bearer, flag bearer. We are here to celebrate him, to show the world that we are APC.
Presidential candidate. Everybody actually should appreciate that APC has forwarded another determined Nigerian that will turn around things in our country.
FCT Minister of State Ramatu Tijani Aliu, while congratulating the APC supporters for a successful rally, encouraged them to believe in Tinubu, the bridge builder, and work hard towards ensuring that they drum more support for the Jagaban.
So many projects have been done, so many are getting completed, so many will complete before the tenure ends, so many will be initiated, God willing, by our candidates. President, God willing, in 2023 election, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Jagaban Bongo.
She went further to say that the country needs a personality with political sagacity as Tinubu to manage the affairs of Nigeria. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Ezumba, NT News.
Emir of Zazzau, Ambassador Ahmed Nuhu Bamali, has announced the appointment of Abdullahi Samaila Ahmed as new Jagaban Zazzau. The new Jagaban Zazzau was former Director of Finance, Nigerian Television Authority, Headquarters, Abuja. Abdullahi Samaila Ahmed replaces his late elder brother, Nuruddin Samaila Ahmed, who died on Friday after a brief illness. To check the excesses of unregistered loan vendors and promote the activities of government's approved ones, the Public Complaints Commission has organized a one-day stakeholders forum in Gombe to identify lapses and encourage institutional reforms. Nafisa Umar Garba reports.
Key players from the Public Complaints Commission and other stakeholders met to discuss and propose solutions to the proliferation and high interest rate of unregistered and unapproved loan vendors operating in the country. Such loan vendors who operate online are causing serious setbacks on public and private investments.
A lot of complaints have been raised on these vendors, loan facilities and whatever, that we look at it as a menace. We look at it as a problem that we have to make sure we find a solution, a way.
We invite other stakeholders to come and voice out their concerns. This is a problem all over Nigeria. We just use Gombe as a kind of case study.
The forum recommended that the Public Complaints Commission needs to look into the situation and tackle it once and for all.
Unapproved loans are too exorbitant for people to obtain. That's why we need to enlighten people more to get the approved loans which have less interest rates.
There must be sensitization, enlightenment and awareness to the entire citizen of the nation.
With the team investigating the lapses and encouraging institutional reforms, the one-day meeting ended with a call for relevant stakeholders to work toward addressing issues of extensive participation in activities of unapproved loan vendors in the country. Nafisa Umar Garba, NTA News.
Towards the end of every year, Helpline Foundation for the Needy, a non-governmental organization, honors women for progress made in advocacy for women's rights and increased action in deepening and sustaining these achievements. Oluseya Diagbo reports on the engagement of these women, some of whom are widows.
These women have over time been trained in various skills, which the Helpline Foundation for the Needy, the NGO initiating the program and providing them with the necessary mentorship and funding. Gwagwalada Cluster, makers of these local fabrics, wins the 2022 exhibition event. Salamatu Group backs honor in consistency, while the Buhari Cluster emerged the 2022 overall winners.
If you observe, what we taught them is what they can make money from their immediate community. So they are making their money from where they are living. So from the little capital, they've been able to turn it into something that they can also resolve. Which is why we say, let's recognize them and ensure that the other woman see that there's a benefit for me to be independent.
In fact, I can see the joy in the faces of these women, especially extending it to the fiscally challenged.
Helpline Foundation has graduated from just giving fish into empowering the beneficiaries with skills and who subsequently pass the same on. These impresses partners who pledged more support in saving vulnerable women and children from economic hardship. In Abuja, Oluseya Diagbo, NTA News.
A single mother and her child or children often are subjected to psychological and physical trauma to make a living, with little or no regard from the public. But with the official launch of a non-governmental organization known as the Single Mother and Child Initiative, adequate attention is being drawn to the plight of these categories of persons for them to attain their full potential in life. Kenneth Nanim will tell us more.
Circumstances such as failed marriages, broken relationships, and domestic violence could force a woman to become a single mother with the challenge of parenthood and stigma.
Some of them that have been battered, some of them have been dehumanized. They also need to be given some psychosocial support.
To change the narrative, this non-governmental organization is seeking solution through expression and protection of the rights of victims.
My concern here is not much about how they became single mothers, but how to help them make light the roads they are carrying. We are concerned about the innocent children's welfare and future. We are concerned about continuous neglect of this plight of people portends
for our community. They are part of us, and we must receive and adore them at all times with love and care.
And some of these problems can be overcome by having a good support system, by being more organized, so we can help these people.
A right step in the right direction, one would say, right? However, the new organization is seeking collaboration with partners to make the desired societal impact. Kenneth Nanim, 18 News.
The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency says it is more than ever before awake to its responsibility of helping the country battle any kind of pandemic through immunization, as it achieved a milestone with the COVID-19 vaccination in Nigeria. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim was at the grand celebration of COVID-19 vaccination achievements and successes in Abuja.
In March 2021, Nigeria received its first batch of COVID-19 vaccine. The target is to vaccinate more than 70% of its target population within the first year of rollout. The journey was rough and tough, but today the country has won the battle. And this couldn't have been possible without the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA.
It is because we have these values that we're here celebrating. If we do not have the commitment, the dedication, the sacrifice, then we will not be here.
As at today, over 54% of the target population has been vaccinated, which translates to over 60 million persons.
Today, as far as COVID-19 is concerned, and life is returning to normal, a feat stakeholders say is worthy of applause.
The director, Dr. Pesach deserves all the credit for mobilizing men and resources in the field, at the grassroots and in our urban centers, to ensure every eligible Nigerian is reached and convinced to accept the vaccine.
If we approach and apply the same will and zeal across every sector of our their country, I believe Nigeria will be a better place.
We are confident that Nigeria has laid a firm foundation to minimize morbidity and mortality as a result of COVID-19.
For travels, all pre-departure and post-arrival PCR test requirements for all persons who are not fully vaccinated have been suspended.
Over the years, the NPHCDA has been with the support of government and development partners, championing the well-being of citizens through immunization. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
Okay, we now rejoin Sokoto, where Sadia is standing by.
In Sokoto. The federal government is to establish 30 megawatts energy electricity supply at Jari, the village area of Shagari local government area in Sokoto State. Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Senator Adeleke Mamora, stated this in Sokoto at a 3-day interactive stakeholders engagement on the proposed project. Lalata Abdullahi reports.
This is Jari, the NTA booster station, where the proposed 30-megawatt Hilot wind farm project is to be established. Experts have already identified the potentials of the project site. Speaking at a 3-day engagement on the proposed project, the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Adeleke Olorinimbe Mamora, described the project as part of the federal government commitment toward decarbonizing the global economy and improving the national economic growth.
We have abundance of wind, particularly in this part of the country. We have abundant water resources. We have abundant solar energy. But all this will be there until we key into them and tap these resources in a manner that will be suitable for our people.
If successfully implemented, we go a very long way in drastically addressing the power needs of the undeserved and unserved segments of the state's rural, urban, and urban components.
Stakeholders expressed the belief that the proposed wind turbine and hydro-solar energy pilot scheme will go a long way toward improving socio-economic well-being of the country. The event featured exhibition of renewable energy products at Sokoto Energy Research Center by the acting director, Professor Musa Muazu. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Participants at the Northwest Stakeholders Engagement Forum organized by National Information Technology Development Agency NITDA held in Sokoto have stressed the need for users of technology to squarely address insecurity and challenges of agricultural production in the country. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports that the forum was part of NITDA's mission to promote digital economy and e-governance.
The Stakeholders Forum with the theme Creating Opportunities, Breaking Boundaries toward Digitalization and Entrepreneurial Evolution brought together participants from Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara states. Director General National Information and Technology Development Agency, Kashifo Inu Abdullahi, represented by Director of the Zonal Offices of the National Information Technology Development Agency and ITDA, Jide Ajayi, said the agency remains committed to building a robust digital economy ecosystem in the country.
We have moved from being a highly centralized organization to a functionally decentralized institution.
Director E-Government Development and Regulation Ben Ewa made presentation on digital governance in the 21st century, imperatives of standards and guidelines in ICT policy implementation, highlighting efforts by NITDA toward developing a regulatory framework that unlocks opportunities in the digital economy across all sectors.
The public policy has moved from the conference room to the public square. That's because more and more people, young, old, individuals, right, are now finding voices.
Representative of Sokoto State Government ICT Directorate Murtala Yusuf expressed government readiness toward using ICT to improve the lives of the people. The forum featured answers and questions session in Sokoto. Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Sokoto for now. Ebehi in Benin will be next, but that will be right after this break. Do stay.
Nigeria, now we country, APC, not the party, now one man be a choice. Nigeria, now we country, APC, not the party, now one man be a choice. Who be the president we need? Who be the president we go for?
People of Nigeria don't talk, oh. Them say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them want as president of Nigeria.
Our country people get many reasons we make them all agree say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them choose for this president election.
Yes, oh. Bola Tinubu na man we sabi. Anything we put in hand, he dey work wella.
He do better work for Lagos State when he be governor. Till today, Lagos people see they enjoy from all the better things we jaburata for Lagos. People of Nigeria, he good to make we vote for who sabi.
As it come be so, make we all come out for election day and vote Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria.
Vote Senator Kashim Shettima as vice president.
Vote APC, the party with the broom.
Who be the president we go for? Bola Tinubu.
It's life. Once you lose hope, you lose life. Once people get lifted to a certain level, they start feeling godlike. What would you attribute this backwardness in education to in the north to date?
I think what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
The program is Reflections.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
In its usual tradition, NTA Benin Network Center has organized this year's 9 lessons and carols to celebrate one of the most important Christian traditions with its friends and partners. The event held at the main auditorium of the Christian Brethren Ministry, Benin City. The report.
To prepare the atmosphere for the event, there was a special prayer session. The chief host is glad to be hosting this year's event with Christian Brethren Ministry and the number of lives that the program has affected positively over the years.
So this significant activities of Christmas gives us NTA a leverage to discharge some of our corporate social responsibilities and money, mainly to foster peace.
The lessons, which told the story of conception and the birth of Jesus Christ, dwelt on creation, the fall of man, a great light for mankind, and God's promise.
Dominion over the fish of the sea and over everything that moveth upon the earth.
I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify unto thee.
Out of thee shall he come forth unto me.
The church auditorium resounded with Christmas renditions from the Christian Brethren Ministry and New Covenant Church choirs. The event also featured solo performances and congregational hymns. The General Overseer, Pastor Obi Okeke, in her message titled "Why This Season," said, "The purpose of the birth of Christ is to redeem mankind."
Jesus came to heal. He came to comfort. He came to give hope. He came to bring joy to humanity.
There were goodwill messages from the chairman of the event, Secretary to the State Government, Osarodio Oge, who was represented, and the APC senatorial candidate, Valentine Aiswin. Highlight of the carol was the cutting of the cake and the appearance of Santa Claus.
Feedback on the impact of the federal government's agricultural input and projects is a vital component in the formulation of policies for the sector in the new fiscal year. The meeting between farmers from the South-South Zone and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in Benin City is an avenue to collate inputs and project assessment data. The report.
In the outgoing year, the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, has expended billions of naira to provide agriculture support for farmers. This meeting with the beneficiaries will aid the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to improve upon its activities in the years ahead.
In our distribution program, we give emphasis to women, 35% to women, 20% for youth, and 10% for physically challenged persons.
The farmers were also sensitized on the need to take ownership of the projects through high maintenance culture.
It is not enough to have all these facilities. We needed to protect those facilities, to take ownership of these facilities, to ensure and take it as our own, so that we will replicate it in other areas.
The interactive session was an opportunity to thank the federal government for expanding farmers' income through the introduction of new agricultural value chains.
We're now having training on other crops that we thought would not do well in Edo before. For instance, cucumber, watermelon, ginger, garlic, as the case may be.
We have solar lights everywhere that has enhanced our productivity.
Over 40 farmers from Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, Cross Rivers, and Akwa Ibom states are participants in the maiden edition of the Impact Assessment Workshop.
And that's the size of Benin's contribution to Nationwide today. Please let's join Lydia in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Okay, quickly, let's take scaling up the Tsangaya Al-Majiri Islamic Studies to the conventional system of education would provide equal opportunity for education for all children in Nigeria. The Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, stated this in Gombe while inaugurating the Goni Sani Integrated Model Tsangaya Islamic School. Emmanuel Akila reports.
The Goni Sani Tsangaya Islamic School receives Al-Majiri students from within Nigeria and from neighboring African countries for over a century. Despite the condition under which they study, the Tsangaya has produced thousands of Quranic graduates, now scholars and experts in Quran and other fields of discipline. The condition of teaching and learning in the Tsangaya becomes more conducive when Gombe State Government explores the opportunity under the Universal Basic Education Commission UBEC to turn it around.
It's a special Friday for us, the day the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought us here for this very, very important program. The commissioning of this Tsangaya Model School in the state capital, Gombe, one of the models.
The place where students study was not conducive, but now it is good. The school was in bad shape, but the governor has transformed it. The center now is not only a Tsangaya with the right facilities for Al-Majiri students, but also a vocational center for skills acquisition.
BESDA will not be complete until we are able to uplift all those children that are out of school and align them with a formal education so that together we'll have a complete educational system that covers basic education that is for free to all our children that are the future leaders.
The inauguration ceremony brought to Gombe scholars from across Nigeria, including Gonisani alumni. There were lectures on efforts to transform the Al-Majiri Tsangaya system of studies to provide Quranic knowledge side by side Western education. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
To avert a reoccurrence of the unfortunate incident of flooding and checkmate building collapse, the Nigerian Institute of Architects is proposing the formulation of a localized building code in the country, which it believes will serve as a solution to these challenges. Justina Etem reports.
Statistics reveals that this year's flood has displaced over 1.4 million people, killed over 603 persons, with about 82,035 houses destroyed, rendering many homeless. Though communities located in the coastal regions of the country are no strangers to flooding, apart from climate change, the Nigerian Institute of Architects blames improper planning and construction of buildings on floodplains as part of contributory factors to the devastation.
We had major flooding problems in states like Bayelsa, also in Kogi State. The kind of buildings we'll be preferring for those areas will be very different.
Lending its voice to stem the tide of incessant building collapse, the Institute is considering a multidisciplinary approach to tackle the menace that has impacted negatively on the general well-being of Nigerians. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
And that ends Nationwide. Before we go, don't forget to join NTA in the campaign against rape and rapists. I am Lydia Odidiochi. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.